Your Words Destroyed My Planet, the stream series. The edited version. Originally streamed live at twitch.tv/dualitysdownfall. More information in the description. Your Words Destroyed My Planet. Chapter 44. Just because you didn't go to Dave's big family feud, it doesn't mean that you're not concerned for him. Your options for dealing with it are pretty limited, though. You're not getting involved, and you don't want to go gossiping about it to someone else. What's worse is that because Arati is doing most of the light balancing, with you and Karkat only being able to check with supervision from Dave right now, she's in a different time zone to you these days. Which means that she's too asleep to talk to you right now. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Do you have a minute to talk?
Did you mean to troll me?
Yes?
Oh, I thought maybe you hit the wrong contact or something. It's not like we talk a lot.
No, I know that, but AA is sleeping and Dave and KK are really busy. I had a question about ghost stuff.
Huh. Yeah, okay. Color me curious, I guess.
Can we interact properly with just regular ghosts? Not any of ours, but like your average dead person? I know AA can, but I'm pretty sure that's just her.
Why would you be asking me something like that? What shit are you up to?
No shit at all. Seriously, we're having problems with this virus and how it plays with dead people in their tech. That's what caused the explosions. I went to the hive of a dead guy to get his tech, and it felt really weird for a minute there, but by the time I got Sai there, it was fine again. So, what's the deal?
Most ghosts are real fucked up. Either flicking in and out, or they get stuck on a few ideas, or they stick in the same paths at the same time kind of thing. Unless they're real fresh, they ain't like our ghosts, but how long they last as real people is different, you know?
The stereotypical unfinished business type of thing, you mean?
Pretty much, but it's more like how hard they felt about something. Rage is solid fuel, but they hold on for specific things, and people too.
Can you see them all the time, then? I don't think I can.
Nah, I mean, I could try if I wanted to. Don't want to, though. GHB and the rest can see him clear as anything.
Yeah, I know Bro kills them for fun.
GHB scares him, and I've seen Damara and Matuna fucking with him sometimes.
What?
Not attacking them or whatever, but sure, what else are they gonna do with their time? Anyway, if you want to know about ghosts near you, I'd ask yours. You can learn to look your own self if you really want to, but then you've got to learn to close that door again.
I guess. Thanks for the answer.
Sure. Later.
Wait, one more thing.
What?
Have you seen Bro at all lately?
Can't say that I have, or that I'm complaining.
Yeah, neither have I. KK hasn't, and I'm kind of suspicious about it. I know signless scare him off, but Bro doesn't seem like the type to have self-restraint or the sense to learn his lesson, right?
He still tangles with GHB every so often, so yeah, he's pretty stupid that way. Either that or his pride makes him figure he can do more than he can. He's really not done anything?
Not as far as I know, no.
See, I get him being scared of signless if we fucked him up as bad as I heard, but my guess would be he'd get his own back by going after your ghosts.
Sai is pretty consistent at handing Bro a full plate of his own ass.
And Matuna? You think Bro wouldn't put him through as much pain as his nasty little mind could come up with to hurt Psionic and Signless?
Holy shit.
He ain't even tried that?
No!
Huh. That's really weird.
Yeah, it is. And now I'm really worried for MT.
He'll live.
Seriously?
Damn, I guess he got me. He'll be as dead as he is now.
So, what do we do? Send the others after him?
Hell no. You don't want GHB getting involved in this. You saw what he pulled because he was bored. He hates Bro, but if Bro is doing something he thinks is funny, he'll motherfucking help him. Don't do anything. I'll work on this.
So, I'm doing what now?
Not a fucking thing. You don't know shit.
Every time you talk to Gamzee, you regret talking to Gamzee. Yet, here you sit. The real fool is you for doing this again. In a way, you're relieved that you still don't really like the guy. It proves that at least a large part of your disconnect is down to personality and not mutual pettiness about Karkat. It looks better on you, at least. You really don't feel like talking to Mituna about him apparently harassing ghosts for fun. That won't be a really fun conversation to have. You will at some point, but for now you're procrastinating. You want to sit up and wait for this thing with Dave's family to go down, but you also don't want to start gaming and get stuck into that. Tapping at your tablet, you idly go over to Wikipedia. Both Wikipedia and Trollopedia are archived forever on the ship, frozen in time from the day your species both met. Every article on each preserved as they were, along with a hell of a lot of your respective internets, the contents kept archived and as they were through time. Wikipedia is the current source of all human and troll knowledge, operating in pretty much every language and updated every time ships contact one another. Since you're trying to get your English skills up lately, you dive into Wikipedia on English settings to get some practice. There's nothing you can really think of that you're looking for, but you want to look at something, at least. As you go through it, you find yourself thinking of how cool this would seem to someone of the time on Earth, not least because Wikipedia progresses past the destruction of Earth for a good bit. If you could know stuff from this back then. You start looking up things that you'd have wanted to know back on Earth then. Notable deaths, environmental disasters. Obviously, the whole plague the humans had right before the Void ate their planet would have been something that it would have been good to have a heads up about, as well as more warning about the Void itself, but that seems too obvious of a thing to pick. Actually, you're reasonably sure that most people would use knowledge about the future for money. That's always a big thing in old movies. Leaving Wikipedia, you end up on the archived Earth internet, and
a recent story by the New York Times revealed that members of President Donald Trump's administration were warning their biggest donors and select others about the threat posed by the coronavirus to the economy. The warnings made their way into a memo by a former hedge fund manager that began to spread among elite traders on Wall Street, allowing them to profit by shorting stocks prior to the March crash, and potentially jumping onto stocks that were set for a huge expansion as COVID-19 boosted their prospects. This all raises an important question. If you were someone rich enough to get an illegal, advanced heads up about the effect the pandemic would have on the economy, how much could you have made? Here's a look at how much you could have made if you had been able to invest $5,000 into each of these high-flying stocks before they took off. Your eyes scan down the list, and you end up inexplicably absorbed in it, and when the front door opens after who knows how long, you're actually muttering about some stocks or whatever back on Earth. It takes a second to shake yourself off and look at Karkat as he comes through the door. You're back. You're alone, you say warily. I am. I don't know where Dave is. He left before I did. Karkat sighs and peels off his sweater. You see a flash of his bare skin before his t-shirt unsticks from the inside of his sweater and falls back into place. You ignore the itch to touch him. It's not new, and you're used to paying little to no attention to it. How did it go? You ask instead. Well, Karkat sighs. Oh, good. I thought it might all go to shit, you say in relief. I wasn't done. I was trying to say, well, it could have gone worse, but you cut me off, Karkat says with a judgmental little look at you. That's so much worse. How much of a shit show was it then? You groan. Like I was saying, it could have gone worse. Dave and June are fine again now. I think Roxy and Dave might take a little bit of time to heal back to normal, but I think they'll get there. That one seemed pretty painful for everyone, I'm not gonna lie about that.
Karkat says with a wince, and then ducks outside to throw his sweater in the laundry chute. What about everyone else? You ask when he comes back in. I think Dirk might have caught the same clue to the face that Hal had, but I don't really know enough about how that went down for Hal, so I can't say. Dirk certainly looked like he'd had a horrible realization about it, but he didn't get much of a chance to apologize to Dave if he was going to. If I'm being optimistic, then maybe he can say the right thing if and when Dave reaches out, but I'd bet that him chasing Dave again would go badly. Karkat goes on. Maybe Hal will help there. I guess it depends on if Dave wants him to. He probably doesn't want Hal handing out a game walkthrough to the Dave apology final boss encounter. You say as the thought occurs. You're a goddamn incorrigible nerd, you know that? Karkat groans. Maybe, but if you don't tell me more about what happened, I'm gonna psionically pick you up and bend you into 1,000 little zigzag shapes, and then you'll be a corrugated nerd. You threaten him. That was a stretch. Karkat grimaces. Like what you do to my patients? You retort. Karkat flings a cushion at you because he's somehow not yet learned that you're a psionic yet, and so you halt it in midair and return it to his face. Fine. I'm keeping this, by the way, Karkat says and holds the cushion close. Jane didn't like Dave calling her on reading all of his medical information, and when Kankry tried to mediate that, she went off on him. I'm glad I wasn't there for that lecture. Actually, if that went down, I'm surprised you're back so soon. You sigh, having been the target of many reproachful Kankry lectures as a kid. Actually, he was very brief, devastatingly so. I'm paraphrasing here, but the attitude and emphasis were the same. He basically told her, apologize properly or stop fucking around saying you are. And if you're not going to apologize, then sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. But if you can't manage that, the door's over there if you're not too brain damaged to know how to use it. And if you are, I will go over there with you and show you the button to get the fuck out. That is how that went, Karkat says emphatically. I keep forgetting that in the same way that you've gone from being a 12-year-old little rage lord who'd flip a table if someone else breathed wrong, and now you've grown up into a reasonably functional adult who now only rips people extra assholes when they deserve it, he's also changed. Maybe he's not grown up like you did. Maybe he shrank down. You did say he punched several cops. Both of you getting closer to that perfectly balanced, fuck around and find out attitude. You say in wonder. I'm ignoring everything you said, Karkat tells you and puts the cushion behind his head as he leans back on the lounge plank once more. Of course, you nod. Anyway, I don't really know Jane well enough to know how that's gonna go, but Rose... Karkat trails off, his expression deeply sad. Dave and Rose have always been super close with each other. Throughout school, all of their friends were the same. They lived together until you got here. Their whole deal is so enmeshed. It's not to say they didn't piss each other off regularly, but they mean so much to each other. You're pretty sure that before all of this went wrong, Dave had intended on talking to Rose about his sexuality crisis. It was heart-wrenching to watch it. The worst part is, I agree with both of them. Rose was right to point out that she was trying to save Dave from a terrible system, to end it, to keep him out of the hands of people who hurt him like that. I agree with all of those things, but the way she delivered that made it sound like Dave was too stupid or too weak to understand what had to be done, and she didn't care what he thought anyway. And you know how Rose is when she's scared. She throws herself in things and learns everything. When she was trying to get the nerve to ask Kanaya out, she studied for it. But she was telling Dave that she wasn't sorry for getting into his deeply personal and traumatic business. She had to know, and more than that, Dave didn't know as much as her about any of this. Karkat starts. Wait, what? You ask in shock. Yeah, and again, there's some truth there. Dave hasn't seen all of his mother's records, but he has been a balancer for most of his life, or at least been connected to that shit. He knows how this works, and sure, Rose could say that it's not science, and his experience isn't the end-all be-all with this stuff, but she didn't. She was so angry and obviously scared deep down that it was like she couldn't hear him at all. Karkat groans. Fuck, what did Dave say? You ask, staring at Karkat with wide eyes. He wasn't as bad as Rose, not at the start, at least, but it's the same thing. He's too hurt to listen, and I agree with some of what he said, but not all of it. The whole deal with his medical records, I can see it both ways. We found out this huge conspiracy. We stumbled into shit that Dave obviously wouldn't want people knowing about. We saw some of it, but we didn't all see all of it. Rose went out of her way to see all of it, and then showed it to Jane, who did the same. You can argue that we didn't have other people we knew we could trust. We didn't all look at it, but it made sense for at least one person to see everything to know if there was something in there that we had to know about, like if there'd been some horrible implant in Dave that could have hurt or killed him if the captain pushed a button, or some other information about the void. You can argue that it was an emergency and you're stuck with the lesser of two evils kind of situation, but on the other hand, you can make Dave's argument that he'd already had his body and his humanity violated in those experiments, and that to look at it again without his permission is significantly harming him again. We had no right to paw through the worst moments of his life, especially to an audience he'd chosen not to share that with. I can see both sides, Karkat explains. I'm pretty sure Equius would have some opinions about that, since they were medical records, you say with a wince. And Jane and Rose are both in healthcare. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even sure where I fall on that spectrum of Rose to Dave when it comes to the records. Neither of them could listen to the other or make any concession to how the other one was feeling, so it just escalated. By the time me and Cancry realized that neither of them was going to meet the other one, it got nuclear. Karkat says quietly. What happened? You ask, not sure if you're about to be really furious with Rose or what. Rose kept pushing him, just stomping on every possible thing to upset him, and Dave said she was just like their mom. Rose said he didn't mean that, and he then twisted that knife and told her that she was already telling him what to do and think, so yes, she was like her, and he did mean it. Dave then immediately bailed, and Rose pretty much instantly had a breakdown. He tells you, his expression pained. Holy shit. I mean, I get where he's coming from, and it sounds like she was a complete bitch about the whole thing, but that's... You draw a breath and shake your head a little. Laser-guided devastation? Yeah. I kind of think that Rose's whole energy that she knows best and Dave doesn't, he should be thankful and she did nothing wrong, probably was directly hitting that part of his whole trauma thing, even if that wasn't Rose's intention at all. I'm pretty sure this is above Cancry's pay grade, but it's not like you could take them to a therapist to work this out. Rose is one, and she knows that whole playbook. I've got no idea how they're going to fix this, Karkat says miserably. Well, shit. I have no clue how to fix that shit show, you admit. I'm not even sure you should be trying, or at least not unless Dave is asking for your help. I mean, pitchness? Karkat trails off meaningfully. Yeah, if you meddle in your Kismis's problems without it being very firmly as a chance for them to grow, then it just shows that you don't see them as strong enough to handle things. I don't think me and Dave are that strict about it, but I've also got no desire to throw myself in that nightmare pit anyway. I especially don't want to do that when there's nothing I can even see to do anyway. Besides, we're not back together. If we were, you'd have heard about it. You point out. Yeah, but it's not exactly easy. Sure, me and Hal are fine, but Rose and June were involved in this, and they're your friends too. Karkat points out. Sort of. June is your friend, but she's kind of everyone's friend. You like her plenty, you just don't feel the need to hang out with her much one-on-one. Rose has been with Kanaya and around Dave for basically forever, so your friendship with her is mostly just tied to other people. You're not the social butterfly that Karkat is. If you couldn't speak to either of them ever again, you'd be kind of sad, but it wouldn't be the same as not seeing Karkat ever again. Though, none of your friendships are as intense as the one you have with Karkat. He's kind of a bad metric there. What would I do anyway? Dave needs to listen to what everyone else is saying and decide how he feels about it, but he's already been doing that. On top of that, he's going to therapy, and he's able to accept more than one kind of answer for why someone did all of this. You and Hal are completely different, but Dave is cool with both of you. I can't make other people meet him halfway here, you say with a shrug. I'm not really sure that Rose falls under that, but yeah, we can't do much. Karkat agrees. So there's no point thinking about it. Let me kick your ass at video games instead, you offer. Karkat rolls his eyes at you, but goes to grab the controllers anyway. You spend a good hour pasting various characters of his across the floor in various games, just because you can. When the front door opens, you're eager to see Dave, and if he's feeling up to it, you'd like to destroy him as well. Just for a change. The fuck? Karkat says. Both of you are staring at Beck, who has walked through the front door without Dave, but with some other dog. Do pets get pets now? I don't think they can, but then again, Beck has a job, so maybe he can have a pet. Why do you have another dog, Beck? You ask him. Beck looks at you and then ignores you, just so you know he's doing that. Then he leads the other dog to his food bowl so the little thing can eat. That's someone else's dog. Wait, didn't Dave say that his therapist had a little dog? It had a cutesy name or something? Karkat frowns as you both watch them. I'm just going to call Dave, you say, and pull your palm husk out. It rings, and when Dave picks up, he's breathing kind of heavy. What's up? Dave says, with a rough exhale. Beck just came back. You start.
Oh, yeah, he should have got back by himself. I told him to go home.
Dave says, and that noise partway through is sending your mind skittering into places it shouldn't be. What are you doing right now? You try not to give away exactly what you're thinking, since Karkat is right there. All the same, the way you can hear Dave breathing is not helping.
I'm on the care patient ship. I needed to go do something productive, so now I'm hauling rebar around and welding shit in places the drone couldn't get to so easily. Ugh, wow, that was a lot. Sorry if you can hear me breathing real hard or whatever. You're on helmet audio.
Dave explains. That makes sense. Get your mind out of the gutter, Solix. Right. Well, Beck just showed up here with another dog. You tell Dave.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Dave asks you. Beck came home with another dog, a little brownish and white one, really short. You explain as you eyeball the thing. You're not very familiar with types of dogs.
Ah, shit. Little, but with pointy, upright ears, and her tail is a little heart? He asks with dread.
Yeah, exactly that. And now she's licking her butt. You tell him. I'm impressed it can do that with a body shaped like that, Karkat says, watching her over the back of the lounge plank.
That would be my therapist's dog, Cinnamon Toast. I'm going to call him and tell him where she is. Guess I'm coming back then.
Dave sighs. How did Beck even get to her? I know he can open doors when he wants to, but it's a big ship. You ask.
Hell if I know. He's too smart for his own good.
Dave groans. You say that, but now he's sniffing her butt. That doesn't look genius level to me. You snicker. Beck looks at you disdainfully, and Cinnamon Toast goes back to licking herself.
Dogs do that. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Dave sighs into your ear and hangs up. It's his therapist's dog. You explain. Is it a crime for us to have her here? Presumably Beck can't be charged with crimes, but we didn't dog-nap this dog, Karkat asks. Beck should be charged with crimes. Also, the dog's name is Cinnamon Toast. You tell him, and notice that Cinnamon Toast herself looks up at her name. That is upsettingly cute. I'm gonna take pictures of her, Karkat says, and gets up off of the lounge plank to get near to her. I like how you're worried about being prosecuted for a crime, but now you're just creating Whoa! You falter as Karkat gets close to Cinnamon Toast and Beck, only for Beck to suddenly growl and snarl at Karkat. Karkat freezes and backs off. Thankfully, the snarling stops, so there's not so many teeth on display. The growling is intermittent and quiet now, and Beck's ears mostly go back to their normal position, but evidently he's not keen on letting Karkat get near to either of them. I don't think I've ever seen him do that to someone. I've seen him get in the way of people and Dave, and Karkat backs all the way onto the lounge plank with you. You've seen Beck growl at Dave when they're playing around with his tug-of-war toys or something. You've heard Beck growl at inanimate objects that displease him. But never, ever have you seen him threaten aggression against a person before. Karkat gives you a wide-eyed look as he seems to realize that he's in a confined space with a pretty big and very strong bark beast, one with very sharp teeth, access to any door, and far too much intelligence. We're going to stay here and wait for Dave to get back, and I'm going to keep Beck where I can see him. You tell Karkat calmly, and let your psionics crackle up your horns. You've got no intention of hurting Beck, but you're not about to let him hurt either of you. If you have to stick him to the ceiling, then that's what you'll do. Even if it means that you'll sleep with one eye open forever. You watch as Beck leads Cinnamon Toast around the hive in what is obviously a canine tour, though you can't imagine how Beck would narrate everything he's showing the little dog. Beck opens the door to Karkat's room and Cinnamon Toast looks inside, then the ablution block where she takes a moment to go into the tiled room and bark loudly so the sound bounces around. You and Karkat are on your feet as Beck and Cinnamon Toast come closer. Karkat grabs your hand nervously as Beck leads Cinnamon Toast past the lounge plank towards your door and Dave's. There's something in the way that Beck's walking, the way that he looks at you. It's not normal. You know that bark beasts can be scary. You've seen ones around Beck's size before. They're descended from one of Earth's strongest predators. Even regular bark beasts can kill people. You're not ignorant to that. Unlike Dave, you have no desire to put your body anywhere near those teeth. You respect that he's a carnivore and a predator. There's something about Beck that's too smart, that knows too much. You're just not used to those hyper-intelligent and impossibly dark eyes looking at you like you're something he might want to take down. Beck opens your door and a growl bubbles out of your chest without you meaning to. Karkat clenches your hand tight as Beck looks around at you and returns the sound. Evidently, your message to stay out of your space gets across because Beck leads Cinnamon Toast to Dave's door and opens it. The pair of them disappear inside and the door shuts behind them. I was going to ask if we should get them out of there, but I'm not sure that getting them out is a smart plan, Karkat says after a moment. I don't think it's a good idea. We should wait for Dave. You agree, and move the pair of you so you're facing Dave's door, but about as far away from it as you can get. At least they're contained, Karkat says uncertainly, like Beck hasn't just demonstrated how incredibly easy it is for him to get into and out of whatever he wants. The wait for Dave to return is tense, but thankfully not all that long. You don't realize that Dave is back until his door opens. To be clear, Dave hasn't somehow teleported into his respite block and let himself out from the inside. It's more that Beck opens the respite block door and stares at the front door for several moments, and then the front door opens as Dave rushes through. Beck must have heard him getting close to the hive. Beck! Dave snaps at him as soon as the two make eye contact. He snarled at me when I got close to them earlier, Karkat says, his tone genuinely uneasy. Dave's expression flicks through horrified dismay and back to stiff anger. He looks back at Beck and draws a deep breath in. Bad dog, Dave says sternly.
He doesn't shout it, but the words goddamn project around the room.
The words bad dog change Beck instantly. He shifts from the big, "Oh yeah, just try me" body language to looking devastated. Beck whines and hurries to Dave's feet, like he's hoping he can convince Dave that he's not a bad dog.
"Don't look at me like that. You stole Cinnamon Toast and snarled at Carcat. Bad!" Dave scolds him.
"The other one's in there. We didn't want to go in there and back them into a confined space," you explain as you point at Dave's door.
"Smart. Beck, stay."
Dave shifts from talking to you normally to his mad and disappointed tone directed at Beck. Beck may as well be welded to the ground. He doesn't move even a nanometer from where he was when Dave told him to stay. He seems utterly dismayed and distraught, like Doggy 12th Perigees Eve has been cancelled forever because of something he did. He doesn't even move when there's an alarmed yip from Dave's room, and Dave emerges carrying a clearly unwilling Cinnamon Toast under one arm. The doorbell buzzes, and you psionically answer it. You don't think Beck is going to do anything, but why risk it when you have mind powers? There's a teal man on the other side who seems slightly alarmed that the door opened with no one there.
"Doc, I've got her. I'm so sorry," Dave says as he hurries over to the door with Cinnamon Toast wriggling for freedom that she's clearly not getting.
"There you are. Thank you. And it's not your fault, Dave. I'm not entirely sure how Beck was able to find her in the first place, but I guess we're all going to have to live with that mystery," the man at the door says, apparently Dave's therapist, unless Dave is handing dogs out to anyone who calls. "Beck's too smart for his own good, or anyone else's," you say.
"Definitely too smart for his own good,"
Dave agrees with a sharp look at Beck. The doctor looks at you and Carcat, and you see him very clearly figure out who you both are, and then forcibly have no reaction beyond that. "Thank you for giving her back to me," the doctor nods.
"No problem,"
Dave sighs and drags a hand through his hair, one of those tells that you're starting to connect with Dave being emotionally honest but stressed about it.
"Are you all right?"
the doctor asks as carefully as he can. There's no way he's asking conversationally, not after Dave's whole thing with his family. That's a question to see if Dave needs immediate help and intervention. Dave clearly catches the question for what it is and drops his hand, giving the other man a tired and somewhat weak smile.
"I'm okay. I'm about how I expected, at least. I had been working on the Carapacian ship, so I could at least do something constructive. That wasn't meant to be a pun. I could have done without the panicked sprint across the ship to stop dog crimes, but I'm okay,"
Dave tells him honestly. "That's good to hear. I'll see you tomorrow, then." The doctor nods.
"You'll see me, at least. I think Beck might go see my... Jade."
Dave verbally trips over the space that girlfriend no longer takes up. "You're Jade?" the clearly confused doctor repeats.
"Shit, no. Not a Jade blood. I meant Jade, capital J. My friend and, ex-girlfriend,"
Dave says quickly. "Oh, yes, you're right. That's a case problem. I was thinking Jade is in the color. But yes, Jade, I know who you mean. Well then, tomorrow." The doctor laughs.
"Tomorrow,"
Dave agrees and waves his doctor off. As soon as the door shuts, Dave slumps against it a little. Beck whines at Dave and immediately gets glared at for it.
"I can't believe you pulled that shit. I told you to go home, not break your therapy buddy out for an adventure. And you growled at Carcat and Solix," Dave scolds him.
Beck looks like the saddest dog who has ever existed. Everything about him is worlds apart from the creature you saw earlier.
"No, go to bed. I'm telling Jade about this,"
Dave says firmly, and Beck sadly walks back into Dave's room with his tail hanging low behind him. "So, hi?" you say after a moment. You can't really make out what Dave says, given that his hands are over his face now, but it doesn't sound Alternian anyway. You're gonna take a stab at translation and guess something like, Holy shit, what the fuck is going on? Fuck today, my life, me, and the dog nonsense that's been forced on me. Dave, I know today's been a lot. Can I do anything to make it less shitty? Do you need us to get you food, or do you want to talk about things, maybe? Karkat offers, making you wince, and Dave take his head out of his hands to stare at Karkat. I think he can manage to order his own food, you point out. No shit, I'm well aware he's a functioning adult. Karkat snaps at you. In the background to your disagreement with Karkat, you hear Dave make an uncertain noise, like his status as a functioning adult is somewhat doubtful. Are we sure about that? You grin, especially as you know that Dave isn't taking himself too seriously. Why are you such an asshole? Karkat demands, glaring at you. Practice, probably? You shrug. Every word you say beats IQ points out of my think sponge like you're flaying me with my own spinal cord. All I was trying to do was offer Dave help with something that I could actually help with. Karkat rants. It occurs to you that this is a flush versus pitch disconnect of care. You don't want to imply that Dave can't take basic care of himself unless it's clear that he really can't, and you prickle at someone else insinuating that he needs that help. Karkat, meanwhile, is trying to make things easier for Dave out of at least partly romantic pity. He cares and thinks Dave deserves better. I'll keep quiet for your own good, then, you say. You're not going to say anything that you just thought, that's for sure. A promise that I'm sure will be broken. Dave, do you... Karkat turns from you to Dave once more, but Dave is already shaking his head. I'm good, thanks. I'm gonna go talk to Jade about dog crimes, Dave says and vanishes into his room. Great, I definitely fucked that up, Karkat groans. You pat Karkat consolingly on the arm and nudge him to sit down on the lounge plank again. The pair of you watch a movie, but you're both pretty distracted, and neither of you see Dave again for the rest of the day. The next morning, you look at Dave as he walks around the room getting ready. Technically, as he walks in and out of several rooms as he gets ready, picking things up and putting them down as he also tries to brush his hair into order. Is this anxious pacing since you have therapy soon? You ask warily. No, this is me being frustrated that I have the best memory and spatial awareness when I'm blind, but as soon as I've got eyes, my brain refuses to let me remember where I put shit, and Jade's gonna be here any minute to get Beck after his little stunt. Dave answers, and glares at Beck as he passes by. Beck does genuinely look a little remorseful, or at least sad that Dave is annoyed at him. What are you looking for? You ask. His brush, the one with the green rubbery handle? Dave says, ducking back into his room to rummage through things. You look around and just spot it sticking out from under the shelving unit below the TV that has all the gaming consoles in it. Got it! You call out and psionically float it over to him. You're a lifesaver. Dave sighs gratefully from inside his room. You get up and walk over there, leaning against the door frame to watch Dave getting stuff in and out of the plastic storage containers under his bed. Mostly, you're watching him as he's knelt down and leaning over like that. Yeah, you're not even gonna say that you're not enjoying the view. Still, you are capable of actually having a discussion with him, no matter how nice his ass is. It is very nice, though. How is therapy going, since yesterday was... I don't know. I think yesterday was more like... Dave cuts off, pulls himself out from under the bed, and inhales sharply through gritted teeth as he winces like you would if you watched someone walk right into something face first. Karkat told me about it a little. Without sound effects, though. You add. Did he tell you that he also did the thing where he can't sit in chairs properly and fell off of it eventually? Dave asks. His tone is flat, but you can see the amused little quirk to his mouth. He didn't. I love that. Was it a good one? You ask eagerly. Above average, but I've seen better. Anyway,
I don't know how I'm doing with yesterday. I've got a whole novel on my Trollean from Dirk that I've not read yet, but I skimmed part of it, and it seemed like it was heading towards an apology. I just have to psych myself up to get through it and see if it's an actual apology. Dave says, and puts some dog things in a backpack. It's fine. I'm dealing with it in therapy, which is not as terrible as I thought it was going to be. It's actually helpful and not like coercive mind control, he tells you. They should put that in their marketing, you tell him cheerily. Man, fuck off. But, like I said, I'm doing fine. Talking about shit in therapy. Mostly I just want a distraction. Which was why I was trying to go do stuff on the other ship until certain people stopped me. Dave says pointedly, and then all but crawls under the bed to get something else. Seriously, he's on his hands and knees, and he's so far under the bed that he's gone from about mid-torso upwards. A distraction, huh? You say, looking at his body intently. Yeah? Dave agrees from under the bed. You could take your mind off of things and make us both happy by putting something in me, you tell him, your voice almost edging into a flirtatious kind of purr. There's a muffled thump as you hear Dave hit the back of his head on the underside of his bed. You just about smother your grin by the time he scrambles backwards out of the bed to stare at you. What? You've been putting off doing my tattoo for ages, you say innocently. Dave's eyes are wide. You hear the pissed-off breath that he draws in sharply. When he moves, it's fast, grabbing the front of your shirt and pulling you into the room as he shuts the door behind you and then shoves you against it. This is very stupid of you, you know that, but all the same, it's making all the troll parts of your thing sponge that are wired for pitch affection light up like fireworks. You are such an asshole, Dave tells you, and you know it'd be a growl if he was a troll. Fuck, get a hold of yourself, Solix. I know, I'm mostly just jerking you around for fun. I'm not actually trying to hit on you when you said that we're on pause. I'm an asshole, but I'm not, you know. You shrug a little. An asshole? Dave says dryly, his eyes narrowing at you. Yeah. You wish you could say that you just said that. Instead it comes out as this small, almost dreamy kind of sigh. Dave lets go of your shirt and moves his hand to the door by your head, which doesn't do a lot to make this situation less pitch. I wanted to talk to you about that. About us and being together, I mean. Not about you being the kind of fucker that makes me want to brain myself by saying things like that at the worst times. Dave says with a reproachful glare that you like way too much for it to discourage you in the future. In my defense, it was very funny, you tell him. Ignoring that. So, therapy is going well. I've not lost my shit since I started really getting into it, and I don't know if it's the doc or the meds or some fun combo of the two. I'm handling things better, which is good. I've also discovered that I'm apparently a fuck ton of issues combined together like I'm some kind of mecha robot that makes an even bigger robot. It's like if the book where they write down all the mental problems instead wrote fanfic for those cartoons, like, what was it? Voltron? Transformers? Was that the one where... Dave frowns, and you can see the tangent careening away from you. Tell me about robots later. You're doing great at therapy, and you feel better than you did. Continue? You tell him, and poke him in the chest as you do so. Right. I don't really know how this works, but I feel better than I did. Though I do really appreciate it that you were actually okay with me doing this. That you didn't just ditch me for breaking up with you like that. You would have had every right to. And I'm not implying either that you were just humoring me and this whole time you've been a split second away from going, oh, hey Dave, I notice you're not openly weeping. Touch my junk, baby! But, like... Dave waves a hand, pauses, and regroups to try to get to the point he was getting to. I need to talk shit through with my doc and see how the shit show that happened yesterday goes down, but, I mean, I still want... Dave trails off. He's looking at you now, and want is definitely the key word for the moment. He is so very close to you right now. You can feel how warm he is. You meant what you said earlier. You were just getting his goat a little because it was funny. You weren't sincerely making a pass at him. Like Dave said, you're not like that. So now you have to say something and actually be honest about how you feel. If you're about to ask me if I still want you to, then you need to go back to Equius because your eyes are obviously not working. You tell him quietly. How dare you? The man does great work, Dave says in a tone of quiet but definitely fake offense. Well, whenever you have that conversation and you're not openly weeping, then you're welcome to tell... You cut off laughing as Dave thumps his fist into your shoulder. Oh my fucking god, you're the worst person to talk to! Dave laughs, even if he's trying to look mad at you. You both giggle like idiots, because that's what you are. The laughter passes after a second or two, and what you're left with is Dave very close to you indeed, and a very charged atmosphere between you. Dave's eyes flicker down like he's considering kissing you, or at least like he's trying to resist it. It'd be really stupid to kiss you, Dave says slowly as he proves your ability to guess his thoughts. Like, I've got stuff going on, there's other stuff. I should talk to my doc about this. It'd be so dumb to do that. It'd be really bad of me, too. I agreed to stay back and let you figure stuff out. It's not like wanting this is new. I shouldn't... You had more words, but they went somewhere. Probably destroyed by the fact that you're somehow a little closer to Dave now. I definitely can't date you until I've talked shit out with my doc to make sure I'm not screwing things up again, Dave says firmly. Yeah, you murmur. You'd probably agree to anything he said right now. But, like... Dave glances away, and you watch the way his throat moves as he swallows nervously. Sometimes when there's a gunfight or just something happens, it's all too fast to really know the order of events, right? Was it me or you? Who knows? You couldn't really blame anyone, you say quickly, catching on to what Dave is saying, as fast as you've ever thought anything, because for once your whole mind is in agreement about this. Right, exactly. Who can say? It'd be dumb of me, bad of you. It's just, Dave says in the worst casual voice ever. You and Dave stare at each other. It would be entirely impossible to say how this occurred. All you can say is that in one moment, you and Dave are standing there, and in the next, kissing is happening. Mysterious! It's beyond gratifying to know that he's missed you as much as you've missed him. The way he kisses, the way this entirely blameless kiss happens, shows just as much longing on both sides. He's been thinking about this, you can tell. The kiss is intense, and his hands can't stay still. Like, he's missed this so much that he can't decide what to do and where to put his hands first. You're no better, though. Dave's already got you sandwiched between him and the door, but you're still trying to pull him closer, like you can make up for the time without him by erasing as much space between you as possible. You get one hand under his shirt, because it's not fair that he exists and looks like he does, and you've not been able to touch him. His fingers end up in your hair, sliding through it and brushing past your horns at the same time. Dave jolts slightly, and you realize that you definitely got your claws into his skin a little harder than you'd meant to. You didn't mean to. You weren't supposed to hurt him. You break the kiss off, worried that you fucked this up, only to see that Dave seems dazed and kind of sad that it's over. He doesn't look hurt at all. Warily, you nudge his shirt up enough to see, and yeah, you did claw him. There's several red lines over his ribs, and on one you've broken the skin slightly. It's not bad, it's a scrape more than anything, but you weren't supposed to. Oh, wow. I mean, ow. I didn't notice that, Dave says. Well, fuck. He's not upset at all, and you could have kept going. Ugh. You'd prefer to be sure that Dave was alright, though. I really need to talk to my doc, he says softly and takes a step back. The bell to your hive rings and Dave winces. And that's Jade here to pick up Beck. Shit. He hisses and scrabbles about for the last few things.
You stop him before he goes out of the door and fix his hair for him. That way, he doesn't look like he was just kissing you senseless. The look of quiet affection and gratitude wrecks you just as much as the kiss did. Dave slips out of the room, and you take a few moments to try to collect yourself. Out in the main room, Jade and Dave are standing by Beck, but Karkat is there as well, so you're guessing he let Jade in. Dave is telling Jade all about Beck's jailbreak attempt, but Karkat is looking right at you. His expression is curious if suspicious. You stupidly try to look innocent, but now Karkat looks 100 times more suspicious than he did before.
Okay, but she is fixed, right?
Jade asks.
I didn't ask, and I should ask, but it's fine. I mean, she'd have to be. It's fine.
Dave insists.
You should definitely ask. Anyway, I've gotta go. Message me later about that wiring problem you were saying about?
Jade says. She leans in and kisses Dave's cheek quickly and then leaves with a little wave. Jade takes Beck with her, and as she goes, you examine your feelings a little. You really don't feel any kind of way about her being affectionate with Dave. You know how he feels.
Later, I'm late to therapy. Fuck, where's my tablet?
Dave transitions smoothly between goodbyes and panic. It's on the lounge plank, Karkat says flatly, his eyes darting between you and Dave.
Cool. Oh, hey, since you two are both off, you should go to the gym together. You still gotta train to pass the test, Karkat.
Dave says as he tries to get his shoes on as fast as possible. I can think of a million things I'd rather do, you point out.
So you don't think you could still pass the test? Got it.
Dave says, and he's out of the door before you can get more than an indignant-sounding vowel or two out. Karkat is giving you a hell of a look, and you bristle at how obvious your thoughts must be, and how easily Dave just played you. Whatever happened to humans not being good at Black Realm or having no intuition for it? Dave could run a class on this. Could you not say anything quieter, please? You ask him. This is the lowest volume you're getting, and since you're ungrateful, I'm going louder. So, what was that? Karkat asks with a devious look on his face. It's just Dave being Dave, you mutter. Sure. Is that why you both came out of there looking like that, and why you're so adamantly black flirting with each other? He challenges you. We're not back together or anything, not yet. You admit. You're looking away from Karkat to try to avoid giving all of your secrets away, but he walks right in your line of sight anyway. Karkat looks up at you, his face showing curiosity, but gentleness, too. He searches your face and smiles softly at you, making your blood pusher stutter. I'm happy for you that things are heading in the right direction. The two of you like each other so much, it hurts to see you both unhappy. You deserve Dave, Karkat says softly. I can't think I did anything that terrible. You laugh. Oh, I can give you a list of shit you did over the years that damns you to a sentence of Strider, Karkat tells you with a vicious little grin, leaning into your space to poke at you until you have to retreat. I don't know if it's happening anytime soon, but he seemed optimistic. Maybe it's gonna be sooner than you thought. You tell Karkat, hopefully. I'm happy for you both. He's made a lot of progress, even with how much of a disaster zone that meeting was with some of his family. He's lucky. You both are, Karkat says with a smile. There's a hint of sadness to it. You know him well enough to see that, and as much as you like both of them, it's an either-or situation. You can't have both. KK, you try. You know what? We should do what Dave said. We should go work out for this test that I've got to do at some point. At least I'll feel less self-conscious about showing myself up in front of Dave, who knows how to do everything perfectly, Karkat says and rolls his eyes. What he means is that he doesn't want to talk about the situation where you like him and you like Dave. So you let him divert you. Yeah, that'd be embarrassing. It's much better with me. You have experience of showing yourself up, embarrassing yourself, and humiliating yourself in front of me. It's more familiar territory. You agree, and Karkat kicks you in the side of the leg, his foot angled so it catches the back of your knee and makes you fall. At least, you would fall if you couldn't fly, so you're fine. You poke your tongue out at Karkat and zip out of his range to get ready. The pair of you do go and work out. It's wildly unproductive, as it happens. Neither of you are entirely sure that anything you're doing is right. Even with the treadmills, you can't remember exactly what they were set to before, since Dave was the one who set everything up. The pair of you mostly just get a case of fuck-around-itis, pinging from area to area as you try to work out and figure out how to do that. You spend a good amount of time there, and you are tired afterwards, so all that did something. You hit up a lunch place on the way home and generally just enjoy your best friend's company. There's been so much going on that it's not like you've got much time to really appreciate how nice it is to live with Karkat and see him all of the time. Just existing in the same space together it's like it's good for your soul somehow. You can spread out on the lounge plank as you play through a new video game while Karkat reads a book, and that's great in a way that you don't really have the words to explain. I really missed you. When we were on Somnos, sure, I missed not being able to whine about everything with Dave before I realized that it wasn't a doomed crush, but... You pause the game and tilt your head back on his soft thigh to look up at him. I miss being around you too. Seeing your name grayed out on Trollian felt wrong. I couldn't send you a message whenever I wanted to. Karkat agrees quietly. That's the thing about Karkat. He gets you. He always has. Karkat gives you a soft and sweet smile, then returns to his book. You go back to playing your game without interruption. At least you do until an hour or two later when Dave messages you. It's an address. No other message. No explanation at all. You could reply asking what this is about, but this feels like a challenge almost. It feels pitch. I have to go out, you say slowly as you search up what part of the ship the address is in. You don't want to find out what the place is, just how to get there. Oh? Karkat says curiously. I have a Dave quest, you inform him and sit up. Ha! What kind of XP does that give? Karkat snorts. I'm really excited to find out. You beam. You're a bunch of nerds. Have fun with whatever that turns out to be. Try not to break any more laws than usual. He laughs, his eyes on his book. Break at least some laws. Got it. You nod and put your shoes on. You leave and make your way to the address that Dave sent you. It's not in a part of the ship that you're familiar with, so it takes some time. You know it when you see it, though. It's a tattoo studio. Your pulse pounds in your chest as you approach it. When you head inside, you catch a flash of Dave's hair through a windowed door at the far end of the room. You open your mouth to say something to the guy at the front of the shop, but he simply waves you through. Clearly they're expecting you. Your blood pressure thumps against your ribs as you get to the door that you glimpse Dave through. Carefully, you nudge it open and peek inside. Dave is leaning over a counter, fiddling with his tablet. He stands up properly when he sees you, his body language calm and confident. It reminds you of how he is when he balances, or when he was training you. He's entirely confident in the space that he's in. Dave wordlessly picks up his tablet and taps it a bit before holding it out to you. The design on screen is on a generic upper arm to shoulder and on the same shade of gray as your skin. The design that he's made is something else, though. It's as he described it, technically speaking. It's your sign with 3 circles overlapping it. 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 yellow. Your sign itself is black, but where the colored circles cover it, your sign turns to white. It's so much finer than you imagined, so crisp, and the flow between colors is impossibly smooth.
For the white, I was thinking of using regular white, but adding a layer of this, too.
Dave says as he holds up his sailor tattoo on his hand. Yes, I want this, please. You blurt out, too eager but unable to help yourself.
I can do that. Take your shirt off and I'll get the stencil out so you can check that you like the placement.
Dave says with a smile that does things to you. You get your shirt off faster than you ever have in your life. Dave has you sit on this clearly purpose-built chair. He wipes your arm over with something and then kicks his little wheeled stool over to a machine that spits out a sheet of paper. You watch him curiously and eagerly as he lines everything up and smooths it over your skin. He peels it back after a moment and leans back to look at it with silent focus.
Tell me what you think,
he says and waves to a mirror on the side wall. You float out of the chair and over to the mirror, landing to get a look at yourself. It's a decently sized patch of your shoulder, but you really like it. You think about the harmony that it represents between you, Mituna, and Psionic. You want this. Let's do it, you agree. Dave checks that you're cool with his color selection, which you are, but honestly, you trust the guy with specially engineered eyes to be better at discerning that stuff than you. With your agreement, Dave takes a moment to get all of his colors measured out and then sets them all up where he wants them. When he's done, you're already back in your chair and more than ready.
Okay,
Dave says. You hear the tattoo machine start to buzz. When you look at him, you can see that he's just about to start, but clearly checking that you're ready. You flash him a smile, which Dave returns, and then, just like that, he starts. The needles still sting, just like they did before, but the pain isn't really that bad at all. Everything narrows down to the two of you in this room, Dave's gloved fingers on your skin as he guides the tattoo machine. You relax into the chair a little more as Dave dips the needles into the ink again.
Let me know if you need a break or anything. I know it's a bigger piece, and some of the shading is probably going to hurt more than this,
Dave says, meaning the line work that he's doing right now. I'm fine, you tell him.
If that changes,
Dave says, leaving the rest of the sentence dangling. Do people get weird with that? Trying to tough it out when they really should take a minute or something? You ask, sensing that's what he's getting at.
Some people get all macho about it, high bloods especially.
Dave sighs. I'll let you know. I'm not here to prove that I'm tougher than getting stabbed a lot. You laugh.
Smart,
Dave says as he picks up more ink. You rest your head back on the chair properly and decide again that you really like this. The needles of the tattoo machine are uncomfortable and sharp, but it does a good job of dragging your focus into the right here, right now of this space. You're incredibly present, so much so that you almost find it hard to think that anything exists outside of this room. This quiet closeness between you and Dave, the buzz of the machine and the marks he's putting into your skin. How is therapy? You ask him, so quiet that you could be side by side in bed at night, talking to him in hushed tones from one pillow to the next.
It was...
Dave sighs a little, his breath ghosting your skin. To be clear, I know what therapy is like. When you say good, I'm not gonna assume you had a really fun time, like you and your doc went fucking bowling or something. You add.
I can't remember if I've ever been bowling. Maybe I've never experienced true happiness. My life is incomplete until I try. I get you, though. It was good. Not fun, but helpful.
Dave says. He leans back and squints at your arm before going back in again.
We talked about plans for stuff. Maybe it's all the sailor training, but I feel better with a plan. We read Dirk's message, too.
Dave tells you. Oh? You ask. Dave puts the tattoo machine down and leans back. You can see the way his jaw is clenched a little. For a moment, you think he's stopping, but he grabs a wet cloth and wipes your arm down.
I'm pissed about the way he said some of what he said, and the shit he pulled in the bar is gonna take a while to get past, but he didn't actually do anything wrong with the whole apology thing. He explained stuff, admitted the things he fucked up on, told me what he'd been thinking, left things in my hands, and it seems sincere. The doc helped me work out that I'm just too pissed about it right now to deal with it, and it'd be a better idea to come back to it in a couple of days.
Dave sighs and picks up the machine again. That's definitely good, but not fun. You agree, making Dave laugh ever so quietly.
I'm leaving Roxy alone for a bit. We both stepped on a landmine back there. If I feel raw about it, she definitely does.
he tells you, and works a line up and down in a way that stings a little more than the others. That's fair. It sucks that your parents fucked you all up in ways that still get you now. Like you need a higher difficulty setting with all this. You say, mad for him and all of them. It's not fair. Yeah, it's pretty shitty all around, honestly. That's why I wanted to fix this, so I could be there for them, you know? Dave says as he leans away from you and starts to do something to get the ink out of the machine so he can change over to something else. Partly you want to say that it's awful that he has to deal with this, and that you know you're in a pretty lucky position in comparison. You and Matuna used to irritate each other and get under one another's skin, but you never had any real and serious problems, not like this. Sure, you went through it when he was abducted and died, but that wasn't anything to do with your relationship. Even now, you and he are good. He doesn't seem bitter that you're alive and he isn't. Sai doesn't either. You all like being around each other, but it's not like that's universal. Karkat and Signless are still at odds with one another.
If you're gonna ask about Rose, then just do it, Dave mutters.
I wasn't thinking about Rose. If you wanted to talk about her, you would have. You say as Dave dips the needles of the machine into a bright goldenrod yellow.
Right. I forget sometimes that you... My bad.
He says, not looking at you. That I'm not trying to interfere in your family and that I'd trust you'd ask if I want my thoughts on something like that? You ask, raising an eyebrow at him.
Yeah,
Dave says softly and starts putting yellow into your skin. You watch him work for a while, admiring the focus on his face and the contrast of his white eyelashes against his black eyes. He really is devastatingly pretty.
There's not much to say, anyway. I said some stuff I shouldn't have, but I'm only kind of sorry about it after what she did. Doc said it's not constructive right now, anyway.
Dave says eventually, even though you didn't ask. Makes sense? You agree. You and Dave fall into a comfortable silence, especially now that he's not assuming that you're reading things into what he said or that you're prying. It's not that you don't care. You care a lot. It's more that it's Dave's business and he's entitled to his privacy and to the experience that he'll gain from figuring this stuff out on his own.
I knew this would happen.
Dave sighs at one point. What? You ask, almost sleepy from how you've zoned into some other state from the feeling of Dave tattooing you.
I'm blending between yellow and blue, and there's a shade part way that's the darker gold tone that your blood is, and it's really hard to be sure if I'm looking at ink or not. I keep having it...
Dave cuts off and wipes your arm clean. Hey, if you could tattoo our friends, then what'd you do? You wonder.
I already have tattooed some of our friends.
Dave points out and cleans his machine again before switching to a bright lime shade. I'm not talking about sailor tattoos, just tattoos for them as people, like this, you say, waving your free hand at your shoulder.
Well, placement-wise, I'm not sure what she'd want to get, but Jade is perfectly proportioned for a gorgeous sternum tattoo. Oh, Aradia's got a great back if you want to do a full back piece, and absolutely has the patience and tolerance for that. June should absolutely get sleeves done, and I've been telling her that for years. Same with Kanaya. Equius could kill arm tattoos anywhere he likes, but I'd actually really love to do his neck or his hands, even if that's not the first place you're supposed to go with visible ink. Jake's absolutely chest and thigh kind of guy. Maybe the same for Karkat. I wouldn't tattoo Terezi, though.
Dave sighs and shakes his head at that last part. She'd lick it as it healed, wouldn't she? You groan.
Oh, low horrible infection. I'm not having that on my conscience.
Dave snorts. I don't even know what Karkat would get, you say thoughtfully. Dave doesn't seem to have any thoughts on that as he goes back to silently blending color on your arm. You figure that he wants to focus, and so you start letting yourself go blissfully blank again, at least until Dave starts talking again, his voice quiet and serious.
Can I talk to you about Karkat, actually?
He asks. Yeah? You agree, a little suspiciously.
Let's just imagine that I'm not in the picture. I don't exist, if that helps. You and Roddy are over. He and Gamzee are done. Would you be trying to get with him?
Dave asks, flushing his needles of a dark teal and picking up a bluer tone instead. If you're trying to tell me that I should be with... You start with a hiss.
Did I say that? No, I didn't. I'm only trying to work out what exactly this thing is with you two. No nefarious motives here. My motives are so not nefarious that they're just... nefarious?
Dave frowns for a moment and moves back to your arm to start putting blue down into your skin. It sounds like that's where you're going, you say.
Answer me or don't. Unless you want to walk out with a half-finished tattoo, you're going to be sitting here for a fair amount of time and either way.
Dave says casually, not even looking up at you as he talks. It's not like that. I'm not... Are you trying to see if me being with him would be better for me than waiting for you? Is this because of this morning? You ask him.
Definitely nothing happened this morning. Nope. But trust me, I'm not trying to derail my plan of getting back together with you.
Dave says. So why is he asking then?
If anything, I'm very, very in favor of anything that means something like this morning gets to happen again.
Dave adds on smoothly. This morning that didn't happen, you mean? You ask. Dave momentarily pulls the tattoo machine back and looks up at you with a smile that's so full of very specific promise and intent that it makes your breath catch and your pulse pound in your ears.
See, you get it,
Dave says, in a tone that makes you wish he'd put the machine down and get up here with you. You know he's not going to do that, but even so. Okay, so he's not trying to pull some self-sacrificial shit, but that doesn't mean you know why he's asking about you and Karkat. It makes sense to assume that he's asking for a purpose, but you don't know what, and since you're here for some time, you may as well tell him. If nothing else, you might find out why he's asking. Fine, if you somehow didn't exist, if Karkat was in the situation that he is with Gamzee, and he was ready to be with someone, then yes, I'd want to try. You answer him finally.
And it's flush and pale, or some kind of mix?
Dave checks. Just anything over that side. I'm fine with whatever detailed way he'd want that. It'd probably change over time. You explain.
Okay, but it's not to be unsubtle or inappropriate here.
He starts. If anyone's been telling you that you're subtle or able to have appropriate and normal conversations ever, then you've been lied to. You interrupt him.
Fuck you. Coincidentally, that's what you want Karkat to do too, right?
Dave asks with a smart-ass little grin. You stare at him indignantly, but he's not exactly wrong. You're mad that he turned your own burn back on you. That doesn't seem fair.
You want to ride the crimson trouser snake?
Dave asks brightly, not even looking at the needles as he cleans the last color out.
Dave!
You snap.
Get a season pass to the red-dyed water of Karkat's Splash Mountain? He goes on.
Why are you like this?
You hiss at him.
Wanna see how many licks it takes to get to the cherry center of his...
Dave is mysteriously cut off as his jaw clicks shut and stays that way.
Yes! Okay, if I say yes, will you stop with that?
You growl at him. Dave grins at you with faintly red and blue glowing teeth on display.
Yes! I want Karkat from sweetest pale to filthiest red, okay? Happy?
You ask and unstick his jaw.
So dramatic and uncalled for.
Dave tuts like he didn't incite all of that shit.
I hate you so much.
You grumble. Aw, Dave says sweetly, and then stabs you with a lot of needles. You should go see Equius because it feels like your blood is on fire with feral loathing for Dave right now. The kind that could be best dealt with by fulfilling any of Dave's stupid innuendos with him instead of having to listen to them. Same, Dave says, and it takes you a moment to rewind the conversation in your head. Same, you hate me so much too? You guess.
Sure, definitely that. Also the Karkat thing. Both, you could say.
Dave tells you.
Oh, whoa, what?
You knew Dave was attracted to Karkat, that he liked him, that he thought he had feelings for him without knowing it back when you were all in school, but that? Wow. You'd like to say that your brain wasn't just playing out everything Dave was just making dumb allusions to, but this time with Dave and Karkat as the participants, that you'd be a liar if you said that. It's a hell of a mental image, though. So, you swallow as you try to focus on Dave and not the images in your head. You're actually really interested in him. It's not just finding him attractive and liking him. It's the whole deal. Yeah, in the same imaginary situation where you somehow don't exist, but Karkat and Gamzee, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'd probably be trying to work out how the hell to make that be a thing, assuming that I had my whole not into girls revelation without you existing. Dave explains casually as he tattoos you some more. Were you checking to see if that was a problem for me? I really wouldn't have any right to complain about you having feelings for Karkat since I do too. You point out. Pretty much. I've just been thinking about a lot of stuff lately. Things I wouldn't have let myself think about before. Therapy's got me cooking those niche gourmet thoughts up in here. Dave tells you sagely and jerks the thumb of his free hand towards his head. Care to tell me some of these gourmet thoughts? You ask. Wouldn't you like to know? Dave says mysteriously. I would. That's what made me ask. You agree. That's for me to know and you to find out, he says, because of course he does. You roll your eyes and refuse to engage with the inanity that will surely come from following that line of conversation. It's interesting, though, that Dave likes Karkat pretty much the same way that you do. Maybe even exactly the same way. Honestly, you're impressed and pleased for him that he's made enough progress on his idea of himself so that he can even think about something like that, let alone admit it. It's also a pretty good sign that he trusts you enough to have that conversation with you. He's probably squaring away things that he thinks could be issues between you two. Your thing for Karkat is a known one, but him being upfront about having the same feelings is good. It's open communication. Despite the kiss that wasn't started by anyone this morning, and may not have even happened. You don't know how long it'll be until Dave is yours again and you're his. It's pretty blatant that you're getting way closer to that goal, and that Dave is very deliberately working on it. You zone out a little as the present moment slips through your fingers like water. Everything narrows down to Dave's hands on you, the tattoo machine needling at your skin, and this small room. You good? Dave asks you eventually, when he's done with all three colors and their blended, overlapping hues. You make a noise of agreement, but it comes out far more blissful and dreamy than you'd meant it to. Dave laughs and reaches up to ruffle your hair a little. You really are one of those. That level of pain for that long hits all the nice buttons in your head, huh? Dave laughs. Shut up, it's not doing anything for me like that. You insist hotly, but Dave seems amused anyway. He gets up and reaches for his bag on the counter and pulls out a can of drink. He passes it to you and motions for you to open it. I don't need a break, you tell him, but open the can anyway because it's lemon cola and you like that. Fantastic for you. My hand is cramping up. Besides, I gotta do the white next and that's gonna be fun for you. You should drink. You should also leave me some, man. Jeez. Dave says as he eyes how quickly you're draining the can of cola. It's got my spit on it now, you point out, watching as he stretches his hand out. So do I, Dave points out, and then frowns. That sounds like I'm inviting you to spit on me and not make out with me. Don't do that. You're totally allowed to make out with me, or lick me, I guess. What I'm saying is there's a spectrum, and the line is definitely somewhere before spitting on me. You're trying to kill me, aren't you? You groan and pass the can to him. Yeah, man, you got me. This whole thing has been one big ruse. I'm actually the universe's least efficient assassin. You've been my only target, and I've still not killed you. Unbeknownst to you, I've been trying to poison your food, only to hand it off to random passersby. I go to stab you and fall down the stairs, and then I dramatically fell for you. Now, sick with hate mitts,
spade sick, if you prefer. I'm reduced to weird tangents that make you want to die as my only method of murder. Dave says dramatically, and then chugs the rest of the can in one. I bet Carcat has a book like that, you say thoughtfully. Probably doesn't have as many weird dick jokes as this one does, Dave points out. Or as many weirdly sexual tangents, you add. Sure. Anyway, lay back and let me put white stuff in you, Dave says brightly. You slap your face with both hands and slump back in the chair. Why do you like this loser so much? Damn it, this is probably his convoluted revenge for you making the same innuendo about this tattoo this morning, isn't it? How the turntables or something. Ow! You yelp in surprise. You'd been prepared for Dave to start tattooing again, but this actually stings way more, sharp in a way that you hadn't been prepared for. I told you, dog. The white ink. I warned you. Dave memes at you as he continues driving a white line of sharp fire on your shoulder. How is that different? The rest was fine! You hiss. It's like that, Dave says, explaining precisely fuck all about anything. You grate your teeth through the white ink. The fluorescent stuff isn't nearly as bad, but after Dave working your skin over for as long as he has, it's starting to get unpleasant. Needless to say, you're relieved when he's done and wipes your arm clean and smears something over it. Okay, get a good look at that and then I'll wrap it for you, Dave tells you. You float out of the chair and head over to the mirror that's mounted on the wall. Turn to your side so you can see your shoulder and upper arm properly. You stare and wonder at it. The red, blue, and yellow overlap perfectly in a blend of colors that are absolutely seamless. It looks so much more magical and alive on your actual skin compared to the design you saw on the flat screen of Dave's tablet. The white parts of your sign are clearly white, but have the faint, soft glow that the tattoos on your hands do. The effect is really different, but genuinely enchanting to see. It's not going to look as smooth right now as it will when it's healed, and everything is going to pull a little yellowish because your skin is irritated, so it's sending blood to the surface, Dave warns you. This is perfect. Do you think I think this is anything less than perfect? You whisper as you stare at it and get closer still to the mirror to look at it more. Really? Oh man, I'm happy to hear that. I think it's sick, but you're the one who's wearing it. It's your opinion that counts, Dave says. You finally wrench your eyes from your new tattoo to stare at Dave instead. He's casually massaging his hand and flexing his fingers. He was working on you for a good length of time. Dave's expression is soft and sweet. He's proud of his work and pleased that you like it. It's more than that, though. He likes you. That's not a new revelation, but it's still evident on his face. I love it, you insist, because you can't say that you love him. Dave smiles, bright and real. Me too. Let me get that thing protected for you. I'll give you the whole tattoo care script again, but you've already heard it, and you get to live with the guy who tattooed you, so you're gonna have the best aftercare for that thing of anyone, Dave tells you, and goes off to get that clear wrap stuff. You watch him as he finds what he's looking for, and then as he smooths the wrap over your shoulder. Not a word of anything he's saying gets through your head, though. All you can think about is that you really hope that Dave decides you two are back on again soon because you're completely in love and hate for him.